Something is moving through you right now that you have probably been trying to manage, not process, not feel. Manage. You have been patient for so long that patience stopped feeling like a choice and started feeling like who you are. You became the woman who waits, the woman who understands, the woman who does not push, does not demand, does not make it harder than it already is. And somewhere in the middle of all that waiting and understanding and not making it harder, something started building. Quietly at first, then louder, then so loud you could not pretend you did not hear it anymore. It is rage. Not the kind you perform when you want to seem powerful. Not the cleaned-up version you express in a journaling prompt. The real kind, the kind that lives in your chest like something trapped. The kind that makes your jaw tight when you think about certain moments. The kind that does not have eloquent words yet, just heat. You might be judging it. You might be telling yourself you are supposed to be beyond this. That spiritual women do not rage. That if you were truly healed, you would be in peace, not in this. But here is what is actually true. Your rage is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something has been wrong for a very long time and your body has finally stopped pretending otherwise. If something about that landed in your chest right now, leave a like and subscribe so you stay connected to this work. Drop "My anger is sacred" in the comments. Because this week, with Mars squaring Pluto and everything, this energy is cracking open. That is exactly what it is. Before we go any further, I want to say something to the woman sitting with this. If you are in the middle of twin flame separation right now, and you are feeling this heat, this restlessness, this low-grade fury at something you cannot fully name, you probably have questions that go deeper than what a video can answer. Questions about your specific connection, about your chart, about what the universe is actually orchestrating for you and not for anyone else. That is what the Twin Flame Union personal reading is for. This is not a general energy forecast. This is a deeply personal reading built from your birth chart, your specific astrological blueprint, looked at through the lens of twin flame energy. Where you are in your journey right now. What karmic patterns are still running. What your soul contract with him actually means and what the next phase is being set up to look like. You have been doing the emotional work. Now get the cosmic picture that belongs specifically to you. The reading comes to your inbox as a personal audio recording and a detailed written report within 48 hours of ordering. The link is below. There is a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from being the emotionally available one in a twin flame connection. She tracks the energy. She senses the shifts. She knows when he is pulling away before he has even done it. She adjusts. She softens. She makes herself smaller in the moments when her bigness seems to create distance. She does this because she loves him. She also does this because somewhere along the line she learned that her full emotional presence was too much, too intense, too demanding, too something. So she started editing herself. A little less need here, a little more understanding there, a little more grace extended to someone who never asked to carry her needs. Or so she told herself. And then she did it again, and enough times that the editing became automatic. She stopped noticing she was doing it. It just became how she moved through the connection, until now. Because Mars is squaring Pluto exactly today, and this transit does not let anything stay buried. Mars is in Taurus, slow burning and stubborn, desire that has been sitting in the body for months without release. Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius, turning its force inward, applying pressure from underground rather than from above. When these two collide in a square, what has been controlled, managed, and kept beneath the surface does not politely request to be heard. It pushes up through the floor, not as an idea, in the body. You might have felt it this week as sudden, sharp irritation at something small. The kind where the reaction was bigger than the thing that triggered it. That is not you overreacting. That is months of swallowed truth finding the nearest exit. You might have felt it as a deep, almost cellular tiredness. Not sleepiness, the kind of tired that comes from holding a shape that is not yours for so long that you have forgotten what your actual shape feels like. The body finally saying, "I cannot do this anymore." You might have felt it as a kind of emotional flatness followed by a sudden, unexpected wave of something hot and wordless, where one minute you are fine, managing, handling it, and then something small happens and the heat is right there, right at the surface, and you do not know what to do with it. That wordless hot thing is information. Your body is delivering a message your mind has been delaying. The question is whether you are willing to listen to it. Here is the dynamic that creates this specific kind of rage. In a twin flame connection, the divine feminine often enters a pattern without realizing it. The pattern looks like love. It feels like devotion. But underneath, it is a slow, sustained self-erasure that builds and builds until the body cannot contain it anymore. She waits while he figures himself out. She holds space for his process. She does not push when he goes quiet. She understands that he is scared, that his wounds run deep, that he is not doing this to her even when it really feels like he is doing this to her. All of that might be true. His wounds are real. His fear is real. His process is real. And here is what is also true. Her needs are real. Her longing is real. Her exhaustion from perpetual understanding is real. When she perpetually prioritizes his process over her own experience, something happens in the nervous system that researchers call chronic hypervigilance. She is always scanning, always reading the room, always adjusting her output based on what she senses from him. Her baseline nervous system state is not regulation. It is vigilance wearing the mask of regulation. She has learned to feel calm by making sure he is okay. The two things have become fused. Her nervous system is not regulated around herself. It is regulated around him. This is what David Schnarch, the psychologist behind differentiation theory, would identify as fusion, not intimacy. Fusion, the merging of self into another person's emotional state, the losing of one's own internal ground in the process of holding space for someone else. Fused love feels devoted. It feels selfless. But it is actually the opposite of genuine intimacy because genuine intimacy requires two separate, intact selves. You cannot truly connect with someone if you have dissolved into tracking them. What you end up connecting to is their reflection of what you are projecting, not the actual person, not yourself. The rage she is feeling right now is not a failure of love. It is the self trying to come back online. Schnarch wrote that differentiation is the ability to maintain a clear sense of who you are when you are under pressure to be something else. In a twin flame connection, that pressure is constant. The pressure to be patient when you want to be heard. The pressure to be understanding when you want to be met. The pressure to be spiritually evolved, to be above this, to be the one who holds the vision when you are, frankly, human and in pain and tired of holding everything by yourself. A poorly differentiated person keeps themselves regulated by managing the other person's emotional state. If he is okay, she is okay. If he is distant, she destabilizes. If he reaches out, she feels herself again. Her internal thermostat runs off his temperature, not her own. A well-differentiated person maintains their own internal center even when the other person is struggling or distant or inconsistent. Not because she does not care about him, because she is intact enough to care without losing herself inside the caring. She can hold the full weight of her love and still be recognizably herself underneath it. The rage is the signal that she has been poorly differentiated for a long time. Not because she is broken, because the twin flame dynamic specifically and powerfully pulls for this. The intensity of the soul level recognition, the depth of the love, the way his pain activates her healing instincts, his avoidance triggers her anxious attachment, his silence activates her worst fear of being left. All of it creates the conditions for fusion. It is not a character flaw. It is a natural response to an extraordinarily intense connection with someone whose wounds map directly onto hers. And now Mars and Pluto are forcing what fusion always eventually forces. The self reasserts, not gently, Not with elegant language or a clean spiritual reframe. With heat and tightness and the hot wordless thing in the chest that has been building for months without a proper release. This is not dysfunction, this is not spiritual failure. This is the beginning of differentiation, the beginning of her coming back to herself while still in love with him, which, according to Schnarch, is the only movement that ever leads to real union. You cannot have genuine intimacy with someone you have dissolved into. You can only have genuine intimacy as two people who are intact enough to actually reach each other across the space between them. Her rage is the reaching. Here is the practical truth that lives underneath all of this. She has been managing his emotional comfort at the expense of her own signal. When she senses he might pull away, she softens. She makes herself less. She does not say the thing she actually wants to say. She tilts toward what will keep the energy stable rather than what is actually true for her. She absorbs the discomfort so he does not have to feel it. And every time she does this, two things happen. One, he does not actually feel her. He feels an accommodated version of her, a version that has been edited for his emotional consumption. The soul-level connection he is supposed to feel with her gets filtered through all this editing. And at some level, even if he cannot name it, something in the encounter feels slightly muted, slightly off, like he is reaching and not quite landing somewhere real. 2. She accumulates. All the unsaid things, all the unfelt things, all the adjusted and edited and swallowed things pile up inside her body. And eventually, they cannot stay down, and they come up as rage. She thinks the rage is about him. Sometimes it is. But mostly it is about her, about how much she has given up of herself in the process of loving him, about how many times she chose the stability of the connection over her own internal center, about how many times she knew exactly what she wanted to say and chose the version of it that would be easier for him to receive. The rage is pointing at the self-abandonment, not primarily at him. Now, this week, the question this transit is asking her is a direct one. What would you say if you were not managing anyone's reaction to it? Not what is strategic, not what preserves the connection, not what sounds evolved or patient or spiritually mature. What is actually true for you right now? That answer, whatever it is, however unglamorous, however inconvenient, is the beginning of differentiation, the beginning of the movement that actually changes this. This is also the moment in a twin flame journey where tracking your progress stops being optional. Because what is happening right now, this reclamation, this shift from fusion back to yourself, is a real and measurable change. But without documentation, the growth blurs. You forget how far you have come. 3 months from now, you will not clearly remember the specific week you stopped swallowing things you needed to say. You will not remember the moment your rage started feeling like a signal instead of a problem. The transformation will have happened and you will have no record of it. That is where the Twin Flame Journey Tracker and Progress Workbook comes in. You have been doing the work. The question is whether you are actually seeing your own progress. The workbook has an 8-stage journey tracker so you know exactly where you are. In real time, not where you hope you are, where you actually are based on what is actually happening in your life and your body. It has a synchronicity log so the signs you are receiving do not get buried under the noise of daily life and forgotten. Weekly reflection prompts that help you catch the patterns you are living inside of, the ones you are too close to see clearly. Monthly reviews that show you in black and white that you have been growing even during the weeks that felt like stagnation. Growth that is not documented does not register as real. It dissolves back into the feeling that nothing is changing, that you are spinning, that you have been here before. The workbook makes your transformation visible to you. That visibility is not a small thing. It is what makes the work sustainable. You can find it linked below. She has been telling herself a story about her patience. The story goes like this. She is patient because she loves him deeply. She is patient because she understands the journey. She is patient because she knows that real love does not force or rush or demand. She is patient because she is spiritually grounded enough to hold the long view. All of that is true. And here is the part she has not let herself say out loud. She is also patient because she is afraid. Afraid of what happens if she is not. If she says what she actually feels, he might decide she is too much. If she shows the full scale of her emotion, he might use it as a reason to create more distance. If she stops holding the container perfectly, the connection might not survive the weight of her actual self. Her patience has not only been love, it has also been fear wearing the face of love. And the rage building underneath it is the part of her that knows the difference. The part that has been watching her trade her center for his comfort, quietly, consistently, for a long time, and has finally decided that trade is not acceptable anymore. The part that is no longer willing to make herself smaller to protect a connection that has not yet fully chosen her back. This is the movement of differentiation, and it is not linear, and it is not comfortable. It does not feel like peace. It feels like heat and tightness and the desire to finally say the true thing instead of the managed version of the true thing. Before we get there, one more thing about him. There is a version of this he is feeling too, even if he would not call it rage. Mars and Pluto do not only activate her, they move through the entire connection. And what this transit does to the divine masculine is different in texture, but equally destabilizing. He has been managing his feelings about her through control, through distance, through busyness, through surface-level routines, through the steady effort of not going there, not letting himself feel the full weight of what he walked away from or what he is currently avoiding. Pluto retrograde means that management is being pressured from underneath. The control mechanisms are not as effective this week. Something is leaking through. He might be more irritable than usual with no clear reason, more restless, more prone to the sudden intrusive thought of her that he immediately tries to override. He is not in peace. He is in suppression, and Mars in Taurus is the body that will not let suppression be comfortable forever. The body that insists eventually that what is real be felt. He is closer to his own reckoning than he appears. That is not a reason for her to wait and watch and track his movements. That is context. What he is going through does not change what she needs to do. His reckoning is his to have on his timeline in his body. Her work is her own. The Pluto and Mars energy today is not asking for slow, careful processing. It is asking you to feel the full weight of what your body has been holding. Let it move. Let it be present in you, even if only inside you. Let it tell you what it has been trying to say for months. Because here's what she needs to understand about differentiation and what it actually does to this connection. The divine masculine in a twin flame dynamic is responding to her energy field more than he is responding to her words. He can feel the accommodated version of her. He registers the editing even when he cannot name it. He registers the space where her full presence would be and is not. It reads to him at a nervous system level as something slightly unreal, something slightly managed. He does not consciously know this is what is happening, but his body knows he is not meeting her full self. He is meeting the part of her that has decided to be acceptable, and you cannot be deeply pulled towards something that is optimized for your comfort. You can be comfortable around it. You cannot be magnetized by it. When she begins to differentiate, when her presence starts to carry the full, unedited weight of who she actually is, something changes in the field between them. He can feel the difference, not as a thought, in his chest, in his body, in the sudden inexplicable awareness that something about the energy is different, that she is less predictable, less available to be managed, more genuinely and unmistakably herself. That shift is what the pull is made of. Not the pull toward a woman who has dissolved herself in his direction. The pull toward a woman who is fully, undeniably present as herself. Whose love is real because she is real, not because she has arranged herself to be easy to receive. Venus in Cancer is holding this week, and Venus in Cancer does not love by making herself comfortable to be around. Venus in Cancer loves from the full depth of the emotional body, including the inconvenient parts, including the parts that ask to be met, including the parts that finally, after months of quiet, are no longer willing to ask quietly. Her rage is not separate from her love. It is part of it. The fiercer, more honest, less managed part. The woman who comes back to herself, who stops editing and swallowing and tilting toward his comfort, who lets her actual presence be fully felt in this connection. That is the woman this journey has been building. You are never supposed to disappear into this love. You are supposed to become more yourself inside of it. And right now, in the heat of what you are feeling, regardless of how unglamorous it is, and how far it is from the peaceful, luminous version of this journey you imagined, you are doing exactly that. Stay with it. Let it speak. Let it bring you back to yourself. That is the work, and you are in it.